the 6th round in our 7-race series. With me, as usual, Craig Hill. And Craig, we've been enjoying the beautiful British Columbia scenery as well as a lot of on-track excitement the last couple of days.
Oh, you bet, Pat. And, you know, it's really kind of funny because what's happened is it's kept the competitors and the spectators on their toes over the last couple of days. And we've had a speed trap down the back straights, and these guys are reaching speeds well over 150 mile an hour going over Deer's Leap, which is awfully fast.
Craig, you've raced on 4 wheels here in the Atlantic Series. What are the sections of the racetrack that will be most difficult for the motorcycle racers?
There's 2 places on the track that I really consider really and truly important, both to 4-wheel drivers and to motorcycles. And that's that off-camber corner, turn number 3, going onto the back straightaway. It's a long sweeping corner, and you've got to have it just right because you need that velocity down the back straight in order to go very fast at the end. So that's an important corner. The second most important corner, in my estimation, is the hairpin at the end of the straightaway. Because if you do that one wrong, you don't have any velocity coming back up this way. So those 2 corners, in my estimation, are the very, very most important corners on this circuit.
Thanks, Craig. Our program today will include highlights of the Pro 750 production class race that was run earlier. And then we'll have the Rothman Superbike Challenge 22-lap race for those awesome superbikes. Just to bring you up to date on our Castrol Motoplan series, our last race was out at Calgary at the brand new race facility at Race City Speedway. It was an event that saw pole sitter and series leader Michel Mercier on his #1 Suzuki lose the lead to his teammate Gary Goodfellow of Vancouver. Goodfellow had finished second in the Suzuka 8-hour race in Japan on his Yoshimura Suzuki GSXR 750 and needed a win at Calgary in order to give Mercier a run for the Canadian Championship. Steve Dick ran an excellent early race until he came off his Honda, leaving Norm Murphy and Ruben McMurder to battle for 3rd spot. Murphy crashed his tied-back Suzuki on the last lap, moving McMurder into 3rd place. So the Castrol Motoplan Superbike Championship Series point standings looks like this after 5 races. Michel Mercier is leading with 66. Gary Goodfellow has 38, followed by Tommy Douglas with 36, Art Robbins, McMurder, and the rest. Robbins and Steve Crevier did not compete in our last race and are both anxious to add to their point standings here today. Because there are only 2 races left in the Castrol Motoplan Series here at Westwood and back east in Shannonville, Gary Goodfellow was the only rider with a chance to catch Michel Mercier for the Canadian Superbike Championships. That chance evaporated yesterday during the Superbike qualifying race. Goodfellow stalled on the front row of the grid just as the flag was about to drop. And although many of the other riders avoided him, he was struck by at least 2 other riders going down hard. Another rider who was injured was a local favorite, number 25, Lee Berry from Vancouver. Here's how Burnaby, BC's Gary Berg saw the incident.
Well, Gary stalled his bike on the line just as the flag went, and Tom Walter was gridded in front of me. Tom saw him instantly, managed to have room to go around between Gary and the guardrail. So just as Tom moved past him, I saw Gary, and I only had just a split second to get past him. We're using so much steering damper on our bikes here because it's such a twisty track that it's really difficult to move your bike over that fast at slow speeds. So you just have to really lay it over hard, and I managed to miss both Gary and the guardrail. And I heard noise just as we went past, but it's hard to tell because with all the engines firing, you don't really know what's what. And then as soon as we got into the top of turn 3, we got a black flag, and we knew that something major had happened on the line.
We wish both of the riders a very speedy recovery and look forward to seeing them back again racing very soon. This West Coast circuit is home to many of our regulars on the Castrol Motoplan Series. They get an awful lot of help and sponsorship and support from the area motorcycle dealers as well as from the Westwood Motorcycle Racing Club. Riders such as Steve Dick, Steve Crevier, Gary Burge, Darrell Fletcher, and Ken Lalonde. But the one man who is really pumped for today's Superbike event is Surrey's Tom Walter.
That's right, Pat, and we'll be back at Westwood with the Pro 750 production race. Our first of 2 events today, right after this.
The beautiful BC, and our first race today is the Pro 750 production class.
This race is usually reserved for the pro riders on strictly stock machines with all the manufacturers represented. However, several top amateurs have been allowed to start in this event today, Pat.
Steve Crevier there, Craig. try to heat up that rear tire as we get set to go. There's the drop of the flag to field away. Lalonde, number 14, Crevier 73, and Dick 101 will charge into that first turn, and it's number 14, Ken Lalonde, with the lead through turn 1. Crevier, number 73, trying to chase him down, and then Steve Dick, number 101, back in that third place position. So the West Coast riders grab the top spots here on the opening lap. Through turn 2, up into 3, it's still Lalonde by a few bike lengths. Crevier trying to chase him down. Dick, number 101, in third, and then 185, Tommy Douglas, through in the fourth place spot. The field really stringing out. We've got a rider going down here in turn 3. One of our local amateur riders who was at the back of the pack bailing off. The rider appears to be okay. Into the hairpin. 14, Lalonde will lead it. 101, Steve Dick on the inside of Crevier will take over second. Then it's 73, Crevier, and Douglas 185. Extremely close racing here on this opening lap. Up through the S's, Lalonde 14, still holding the advantage. 101, Dick up into second. Crevier running third, and 185, Douglas back in the fourth place spot. Lalonde breaks for turn 1. That downhill right-hand turn is a tricky one. One fast line through there, and you can get into a lot of trouble if you get off the fast racing line. Lalonde braking, downshifting, leans it left through turn 2. Rider number 101, Dick is right there, and Crevier right on his rear tire.
Well, you know, Pat, Crevier's riding very sore today. He's got a broken collarbone that only happened a week ago, so he must find it tough coming over Deer's Leap on the back straight.
Well, Craig, this is one amazing rider, and it's really amazing to see him break as hard as he is into the hairpin and stay here with Lalonde and Dick. Crevier 73 trying to chase him down as they move up through the S's. And again, that's going to be putting an awful lot of pressure and stress on that broken collarbone.
Well, he's a tough kid, but he's sure got a tough race in front of him today. You know, Ken Lalonde, he's stretched out some kind of lead. I asked him earlier if his Westwood experience that he's had here all year helps him in a race like today.
Well, I know where the bumps are, and it's a very bumpy track, so I know where to go and basically when to pass, whereas people like Paul McMillan and that don't have that, you know, don't have the track times that I've had on this track. So I know it like the back of my hand. It's a bumpy track, and it takes a long time to really know it. It's not like a flat track like in Calgary with new pavement, and it's every rider you can take a different line. This one, there's only so many lines you can take to get around that corner the right way. Otherwise, it's going to bounce your rear end around.
Ken Lalonde has taken all the right lines so far here today at Westwood. He continues to lead this Pro 750 production race. The motorcycle sliding out of the hairpin. Dick, number 101, and Crevier still trying to chase him down. Local amateur rider Richard Mitchell is having a good run up among the amateur riders. Lalonde breaking for turn 1 as things really start to tighten up front, Craig. Crevier 73 and Dick number 101 have really started to twist that throttle a little bit harder. They're closing in on number 14, Ken Lalonde, who's led it each time across the line so far here today. Lalonde trying to hold off Dick number 101 on the Honda, and then 73 Crevier also up on one of the Yamaha FZR 750s. They'll go side by side out of the back straightaway over Deer's Leap. Lalonde still holding off. The charge by Crevier 73 on the inside of Dick into the hairpin, but Dick manages to hold on to the second place position. And the fans are seeing some of the best production racing here at Westwood in a long, long time. The front-running 3 riders still tied together. There's 87 Norm Murphy. He's running well back off the pace.
Well, Pat, I can tell you something about Westwood myself. I know that it's not a racetrack that you can learn in just one day, so I didn't expect Murphy to be right up with these leaders right off the bat. It's a very bumpy track, and it takes a lot of experience to get around here fast.
Crevier 73 really working on Steve Dick for that second place position, and they've both closed right up on Ken Lalonde, the leader. Here's Crevier on the inside. He'll take over the second place spot.
Well, I think he's waited back there long enough, Pat. He's figured it out, and here are the standings for the Pro 750 production race, and it's an all-Western Canada race at the moment. It appears that knowing the bumps at Westwood is going to be the answer to winning.
Well, there is Crevier by into the second place spot. 57 Fletcher running in fourth, and Tommy Douglas, the only Eastern rider to crack the top 5 here this afternoon. You can see Douglas getting a little bit wide coming out of the hairpin. Lalonde up through the S's. by about 12 bike lengths. The race for second place. They're side by side across the line, and it is 73 Crevier trying to retake second, and he'll move back around into the number 2 spot. Nice move by Crevier. He held the throttle on just a split second longer than Dick, and he'll move his Yamaha into the number 2 spot. But Dick and Crevier have really been putting on a show here at Westwood for the largest motorcycle crowd in the history of this racing facility. There is 87 Murphy running with amateur rider Richard Mitchell, so Murph is well off the pace here today. Up front, the battle for the lead into the hairpin. Crevier up on the outside of Lalonde, but Lalonde will hold him off. Dick, number 101 on the Honda right there, and things really starting to tighten up now, Craig, as the riders continue to push the pace up front.
Oh, you bet. And there's Tommy Douglas. He's hanging in a good place in 5th spot, trying to gather points for this national championship.
There's Crevier making a bid for the lead. He's right up alongside of Lalonde across the line. Crevier grabs the lead. Beautiful pass by Crevier. Again, he's been one of the fastest riders through that section of the racetrack, and he finally does get around Ken Lalonde. So it's Crevier, your leader. Lalonde in second, 101. Steve Dick right there in third.
Well, it was a nice pass by Crevier, and I see Norm Murphy's dropped back another spot. It must be tough going for him after his Calgary accident. And here's a replay of that fall last week. It happened on the last lap while Norm was in third behind Michel Mercier, number 1.
Yes, it was a bad crash, Craig, because Norm seemed to roll with the bike, that brand new Suzuki that was running so well for the team.
Well, it was a bad break for Norm, and I asked him earlier what it was like riding with a damaged back.
What I've experienced so far with riding with a back injury that I've received last weekend in Calgary, it's put me back a lot, and I can't lean down, I can't get behind the windshield, I can't corner very fast, so I'm just going to really sit back and try and collect some points this week, and that's the best I can do.
Steve Crevier over Deer's Leap, and the best he can do is run up front. Crevier already lapping some of the slower traffic as he breaks for the hairpin. And Craig, it's amazing that with that broken collarbone, he is able to run as strong as he has here. There is Lalonde, number 14, getting through on the inside. Crevier got a little bit wide there in the hairpin. He'll run side by side again with Lalonde, and Crevier will retake the lead. What a job by Crevier as they move up through and into turn 1. Steve Crevier, who lost the lead there for a moment, charges right back up front. Lalonde, 14 in second, 101. Steve Dick still right there in the third place spot.
Well, I think for a minute there, Crevier went asleep in the hairpin, Pat, because when he was lapping that slower rider, he almost lost this whole thing.
There's Mario Duhamel, 76. He is running in the 6th place spot. And there is rider number 3, Dave Chitter, one of the local riders he has pulled off the racetrack. That's your amateur class leader right now, number 373. That is Peter Holzinger from Banff, Alberta. He's having a fine run here today. Mario Duhamel, number 76, off the racetrack. He'll get back on without losing a position. Crevier, 73, your leader. Lalonde, number 14, in traffic. In fact, Lalonde now about to lap number 87, Norm Murphy, and he'll do that under braking going into the hairpin. So that'll give you an idea as to the pace being set here by Crevier, Lalonde, and Dick. They have lapped much of the field. Lalonde still trying to chase down Crevier, and there's your third place rider on the Honda. Steve Dick pulling a wheelie coming out of the turn across the line. Crevier, 73, will take the checkered flag for the win. Lalonde, number 14, will finish second, and Dick will finish back in third.
Well, there's a happy Crevier waving at the crowd, Pat. I'm sure he's very, very tired with his broken collarbone and all, but you know this win's got to make up for a lot of sore spots. And Western riders sweep the top 4 spots in this race in an outstanding result for rookie Richard Graff.
And we'll be back at Westwood, BC with the Rothman's Challenge National Superbike Championship race after this.
The Westwood Racetrack in the 6th round of the Castrol Motoplan National Superbike Championships. I'm Craig Hill, and with me is Pat Gonzalez.
There's a happy Steve Dick as he prepares for the start. On the pole position, number 1, Michel Mercier on the Team Suzuki 750 from Belleville, Ontario. Tom Walther will be riding number 993 here today from Surrey, BC. He'll be on a Honda. Rider number 101, Steve Dick from Burnaby, British Columbia. He'll also be up aboard a Honda 750. Ruben McMurder, number 24 on the Yamaha Motor Canada FZR 750 from London, Ontario. And second-year rider Tommy Douglas from Laval, Quebec has been the surprise of the series so far. He'll be Yamaha mounted. one of the Rothman's Honda riders. Paul McMillan, number 9, the former champion, will be Honda mounted. Riders revving up those engines, waiting for the drop of the flag to get this one underway. Mercier creeping across the line. Walther and Dick, and they're away. Mercier, number 1, the front wheel in the air there for a split second. He'll lead the riders into turn 1. Steve Dick is right there, along with Walther, number 993, and McMurder, number 24, is also running in the front pack. Through this first turn, the riders jockeying for positions on the opening lap. It's Mercier, and we've got a rider going down. Could not pick up the number on the machine. The rider's off the racetrack. Appears to be okay. There is Mercier, your leader, going on the back straightaway here on the opening lap. Dick, number 101, Walther, 993. There's McMurder, number 24, getting into a big wobble, coming over Deer's Leap. He'll try to slow it down for the hairpin. McMurder will run off the racetrack. McMurder got in way over his head going into the hairpin. Does a nice job of staying on the machine. He'll lose several positions here as he gets back onto the racetrack. But that has to be a big, scary moment for Reuben McMurder, number 24.
Well, it hasn't affected these two guys up front, Pat. Look at the duel here for first place.
Dick tried to go by Mercier up on the outside through turn 1. Mercier holds him off, but Steve Dick, who knows this racetrack, is really putting the pressure on Mercier, who got a little bit wide there into turn 2, and Dick looked as though he was going to try to make the pass on the inside, but again, Mercier will hold off the bid by Steve Dick. Michel Mercier, big slide by Mercier, and again, he managed to save it, but Michel appears to be having some handling problems. There's McMurder, number 24, back on the throttle as he tries to come back up through the field.
And look at Mercier's back wheel wobble there as he brakes for that hairpin, Pat. He takes an awful wide line, which is not necessarily the right way to get around here at Westwood.
Well, Steve Dick was a lot closer to the inside of the turn and did make up some ground. Here is Gary Berg, number 28, as he runs up in the top 10, trying to chase down rookie Kyle Andrews, and the lead battle moves into turn 1. It's still Michel Mercier up front on the Suzuki. Steve Dick, number 101, is right there, along with 993, Tom Walther. And again, Craig, the fans are being treated to a tremendous race here at Westwood.
Oh, you bet they are, Pat. But, you know, I think that Michel's using a little bit too much of his back brake.
There's Glenn Friend, number 32, being pressured by Bill Jenkins, local rider from Maple Ridge, British Columbia, over Deer's Leap. Here is Dick, 101, on the inside of Mercier. Steve Dick will take the lead. A tremendous job of outbreaking the Suzuki rider to grab top spot. Mercier now in a Honda sandwich as they come out of the hairpin. It is Dick leading. Walther, 993, making a bid for second on the inside of Mercier. And Walther will put the Suzuki rider back into the third place spot. These two Honda machines are handling beautifully here at Westwood. Mercier appears to be having some handling problems on his Suzuki machine.
And there are the standings with the two BC riders, Dick and Walther, outclassing everyone here today. And always cautious Tom Douglas back and forth. And I think Tommy is playing his usual wait-and-see game in order to take advantage of any mistake the top three might make. Except that Paul McMillan has been running right up his back wheels, and I'm sure he's going to try to get by soon.
Well, Douglas and McMillan not all that far behind the lead trio, and there's Mercier. He got into a big slide coming out of the hairpin, and he'll try to gather it back up. McMurder, 24, working his way back up into the top 10 now, and Reuben has done a nice job of carving his way through the field after that scary moment on the opening lap.
Well, first-place rider Steve Dick has had a history of coming off his Honda in this National Series, and I asked him earlier what he planned to do about it this weekend.
Our Superbike, I tossed that one on, in the Superbike race in Calgary. Well, I was lying in third place. And that was unfortunate. I overcooked the front tire and just pushed it a bit too hard. Wasn't running enough tire pressure. So we realized the problem. We've rectified that, and I qualified third yesterday in the heat race. And I'm pumped now for this race. I know the track really good, and I figure we're in there for a third or better.
Tremendous three-rider battle for the sixth-place position. Gary Berg, number 28, right now in sixth, holding off 24, Reuben McMurder, and number 14, Ken Lalonde. All three riders on Yamaha 750s, and they're having a tremendous race here for that sixth-place spot. Here's McMurder up on the outside of Lalonde. He'll pick up one position, and now goes after number 28, Gary Berg.
Well, it's a shame, Pat, that McMurder had that big mess on the first lap, because he's sure been competitive all weekend with his lap times.
Bird into turn 2. McMurdo is right there on his rear tire. He is putting the pressure on Bird, who must feel the tremendous pressure, and there is Bird. He almost crashed. McMurdo goes by. The lead battle into the hairpin. 101, Steve Dick, 993. Walther, and there is Mercier sideways almost into that turn. He really had the back end dancing under braking going into the hairpin. And right now, Michel has lost contact with the front-running 2 riders. Number 9, Paul McMillan, turning in a spectacular ride here on the Rothman's Honda machine. He is running in 4th. Steve Dick, number 101, and Walther, 993, have lap number 32 there. Glenn Friend on the Sunlight Whisk Suzuki machine, and they'll be coming up here to put a lap on number 87, Norm Murphy. And these riders very courteous in moving out of the way to let the front runners by. Part of the tremendous crowd here enjoying the action. Steve Dick, his foot came off the peg. Walther on the inside will take the lead. Tom Walther taking advantage of that slight bobble by Steve Dick, number 101, to grab the lead. They will lap number 18, Ralph Wannett, the Calgary, Alberta rider. But again, Dick will chase him up into the S's. Tom Walther by just a few bike lengths. Steve Dick still very much in this race as they come to the line.
The way these 2 riders are going at it, Pat, it could be anyone's race. I asked Tom Walther if he felt pressure because this is his home track.
Not really. I think everybody's more or less sort of expected me to win because I don't know, I'm sort of overdue. I've been, getting seconds and thirds and fourths and whatnot, and I myself would like to win here because it is my home track. Gary was sort of favored to win the race, but he had a little bit of bad luck yesterday, and maybe it's my turn.
There's former champion Art Robbins, just a spectator, who's missed the last 2 races with mechanical problems. We'll be back with more from Westwood after this.
Welcome back to Westwood, BC, and the final laps of this, the 6th round of the Castro Motoplan Superbike Championship. Pat, neither one of these 2 riders will give up, and it's been this way since the start.
Coming to the line, side by side, Craig Dick on the inside will take the lead. Steve Dick, a lovely pass over Tom Walther to go back out in front. And these riders have swapped the lead back and forth here throughout this feature race. And the fans have certainly got their money's worth here today at Westwood. Just a bike length apart up out of turn 2, as there is Dick, as he pulls it out now by 2 or 3 bike lengths, and again Walther will close it back up. The riders going onto the back straightaway. Walther to the inside. He saw an opening. Michel Mercier, number 1, all by himself, back in the 3rd place spot. Side by side over Deer's Leap. Steve Dick, number 101, trying to hold off Tom Walther. Walther, 993 up on the outside, will take the lead. And again, another lead change down at the hairpin. It is Walther leading. Dick, number 101, in second as they run it up into the S's. We're on the last lap. Tom Walther trying to hold off Steve Dick. These 2 riders have both put in spectacular rides. And here comes Steve Dick up to the line. He's going to try to slingshot him at the line. The checkered flag. And I think Walther, yes, Walther has held on for the win. But it was a matter of inches at the line.
Well, Pat, no doubt that was one of the closest races we've ever had. And look at these 2 guys shaking hands after a hot race all the way through.
Great show of sportsmanship between Dick and Walther. There's Michel Mercier. He'll take the checkered flag for 3rd.
You know, Pat, I think the telling factor was that Tom Walther saved himself for this one race, whereas Steve Dick ran the earlier production events. This is Walther's first win in the championship series, and it must feel good for Tom and his whole family who support him so much.
That's right, Craig, and they're the standings. Mike Dillon from Rothman's makes the champagne presentation to the top 3 riders, and we'll see you next week. Series along through all the